Welcome to Murder with the Missus. I'm Darren.
And I'm Amy. And today we're going to tell you about Jennifer Judd.
Don't forget to smash that like button and go and check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and Facebook. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tell your friends. Always tell your friends.
Always.
And this is going to be the last episode
Of the year.
So
Yeah.
if you guys didn't catch our live, go and check it out. But hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Have a safe.
And
Happy New Year's.
Yes. Uber is a thing. Use it.
Yeah. Or, call a friend.
Call a friend.
That's not drunk.
Yeah, call a sober friend.
Yeah,
Please. Now, this was a listener request, so don't be shy. If you know of a case that makes you wonder what the hell happened, or maybe it's just interesting, tell us about it. We want to spread the word. And I was in and out of this area that we're going to talk about today during this time, but I was too young to be paying attention to what was going on in the case, so I don't really remember it, but it has obviously been on the minds of people from the area to this day. There was even a podcast done on it this year, but after hearing it, I wasn't convinced with the direction they were going. But it has a lot of information, so if you want to hear it, it's called Who Killed Jennifer Judd? So let's get into what we know. Jennifer was...
I do kind of remember the name Jennifer Judd from some reason.
It kind of sounded familiar, but I didn't know any details or anything.
Yeah, but that does kind of strike a memory of seeing something.
And it was probably a poster that we saw in passing at a store, or it could be anything, or maybe somebody was talking about it. Who knows? Because Jennifer was raised and went to school in Pitcher, Oklahoma. She was said to be a loyal friend. She was family-oriented and was a little spitfire. It's been said that she had a mouth on her sometimes. Same. She was polite, weighing about 110 pounds, and in high school she played softball, basketball, and ran track. Her freshman year in high school, she started dating Judd. He went to a different school, but they had friends who were dating, so that's how they came to be. Justin was 6'2". He also played basketball, football, and spent a lot of time in the gym. Justin says they were competitive, where after basketball games, they would call each other to see who scored more points. That's cute. They broke up every week, it seemed like, and he talked about them breaking up once, and he sent her roses. She showed up at his school and returned them in person. So there's that little spitfire part we were talking about.
She said, fuck your roses.
Exactly. Fuck your roses. Take them back. Jennifer's sophomore year, she started working at a convenience store in Pitcher called Pitcher Express. She stayed working there after high school, and Justin got a job in Riverton, Kansas at a chemical plant named Alco. He worked in the guard shack there. This is one of those areas where it might sound like they're far apart, being in two different states, but it's really not. We'll talk about like Pitcher, Quapaw, and Miami, Oklahoma, which is in the corner where Oklahoma meets Kansas and Missouri. So it's all right there. So with her in Pitcher and him in Riverton, because she didn't go stay with him, so he was in Riverton. So his mom helped him find a duplex in Baxter Springs, Kansas, which would have been the middle point. Justin moved,
that's like exit 1 off of 44.
You're right there. Can't miss it.
It's just, I think it's exit 1. It might be like exit 2. I don't know.
Who knows?
But
Justin moved into the duplex and his mom had a key. So she would come over and do his laundry, clean up, things like that. All the things you basically did already.
Well, still doing all the stuff like, he lived at home and just at his new place or whatever.
Pretty much. So she's basically still doing all the things for him, just driving to his house to do it now.
I gotcha.
And now let's do a little timeline. The couple was planning a wedding, and she was not moving in until they were married, like I said. On April 25th of 1992, Jennifer's friend came into the store where she worked, and Jennifer was arguing with someone on the phone. Now, this was Pam Judd, Justin's mom. Jennifer said that she told Pam that all the shit that she'd been doing was her job now, and she told Justin that he needed to get his key back from her. A week later, on May 2nd, Jennifer and Justin got married. They went to Branson for their honeymoon, but on their wedding night, she called her mom crying. Her parents offered to come and get her, but she said that Justin was ready to come home, so they were going to cut the trip short and head back anyways.
So Branson must be a big honeymoon place around here.
Right?
We did another case that went, in the Branson honeymoon too. I mean,
right, that's what I'm saying. We go there, we used to go there.
We used to go there all the time, but I mean, our honeymoon wasn't there. But
yeah, but I mean, I would think a honeymoon, maybe Eureka Springs.
Wasn't far off, though. I mean, it was Joplin.
Listen, because let's age ourselves. Tattoos were not legal in Oklahoma then.
Yeah.
So our tattoo artist was in Joplin.
And our thing at the time was, we went to flea markets and
we did.
And we got tattooed. So, I mean, we went and got some tattoos and
went to flea markets,
to the flea market, and there happened to be a tattoo place that we liked at the flea market.
The guy was cool. He was good.
Don't judge us. I see your little looking eyes.
No, the best tattoo people are usually.
Sorry.
Yes. Got in their face. But no, the best tattoo artists are usually in the most off the wall places. So, but like I said, Eureka Springs is really pretty. So I would assume if you're going to go on a honeymoon, you maybe go there. But Branson has a lot of stuff to do. They have shows, shopping. It's a huge tourist spot.
And we're not sponsored by Monster, by the way. Just what I drink.
It's how he pre-games. Now, their duplex was at the end of a dead-end street. And the other side of the duplex was empty. Oh, the dog's barking.
Hey, the doggy's barking.
That's Sky. In case you don't know Sky. She's apparently found something outside interesting.
Sky, please quit.
Trying to record here.
Okay. She's not going to quit. Let's go on.
Okay. So, since they were on a dead-end street and the other side of the duplex was empty, it was kind of spooky down there. And it was a new area for her. So, add in the fact that Justin worked the early shift and she worked the late shift. So, you could understand why she got scared on May 6th when she was getting ready for work and a man started rattling the doorknob to the front door. She ducked down and stayed quiet until he left, but it scared her enough that her dad started following her home from work at night to make sure that everything was okay and that she was safe.
Yeah, dad to the rescue.
Always. And she had lived with them until the wedding. So she had literally just moved out of their house 3 or 4 days before that. So he understood. On May 11th, so now we're 9 days after the wedding, Justin left for work around 6 a.m. This was his first day back at work after the wedding. Jennifer didn't have to be at work until 3 that afternoon, so she planned to unbox some more of their wedding presents. Wow. Please hold.
All right.
We good? I feel safer. I don't know about you. But...
Yeah, Donovan's on the case.
He's like, shh. Yeah, she was going to unbox some more of their wedding presents, return a movie that they had rented the night before, and run a few other errands. Justin got off work at 2:30. And his friend Chuck was at Alco with him, so they both head to the duplex, and then they're going to go to the gym. Jennifer's 1984 Black Mercury Cougar is still in the same spot that it was the day before. The door was unlocked, and the house was dark. Now, I didn't understand that when I heard them say that, because it was 2:40 in the afternoon at this time, and I'm pretty sure they had windows. So I don't understand how it could have been dark in the duplex.
Sorry.
You're good. You good? Between you and the dog, I don't know if we're going to get it. No, I'm just kidding. 'Tis the season.
Dang, man. I woke up this morning all stuffy and everything.
Yeah.
Man.
But
'Tis the season to be snotty. La, la, la,
gross. Yuck.
Sorry.
But he went into the bedroom and the bed was made, but it did look crumpled, like someone had sat or laid on the edge of it. The rented movie was on the corner of the bed. And there was an orange Minute Maid can spilled and laying on the bedroom floor. He went into the kitchen and found Jennifer laying face up on the floor at the entrance of it. He says that she was bulimic, so his initial thought was that she had passed out. But when he reached down to check her pulse, she was cold. Reportedly, most of the blood that had come out of her had pooled underneath her, so it wasn't noticeable until you got very close to her. So he didn't see it at first.
So could you see her from the front door?
Well, based on my knowledge of the layout of the duplex, not necessarily. You maybe could have seen her feet, but he probably rushed in. I'm going to assume that he's going to think something's wrong. So he probably came in and was looking eye level, not down.
Oh, okay.
So he could have easily missed her because when you come in the door, there's literally an open doorway that goes into the dining room. And then if you turn left, it goes into the kitchen, and she was laying in that entrance to the kitchen. So it would have been around that wall. So there's a chance that he maybe could have seen her feet, but probably not.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, this was the early 90s too, so it's not an open floor plan. You'd have to look around the walls. But Justin told Chuck to call 911, and he did, but he couldn't talk. So Justin gave the operator the information and then hung up. After he hung up, he punched the wall next to where the phone was hanging. Her family says that by the time they found out and started showing up to the scene, it was ridiculous. Things like this don't happen very often in that area, so even cops that weren't on duty had come to look at it. It was raining too, but none of the cops reportedly used protective gear, not even gloves. And we'll talk about the house and car first. Her car keys were on the floor where the living room meets the dining room kitchen area, so that doorway I was talking about. Her body was laying in that entryway to the kitchen, between the stove on one side and there was an L shape of a counter on the other side. There was splatter. Why did I do that? I knew I was going to do that.
Spatter.
There was spatter on the wall next to the stove at the same area. So there was blood spatter on the stove on that side of the counter, but then on the wall next to where the phone was hanging. So it's weird too that there was also, when you go into the kitchen, like her body's laying here, you go in and over, and that's where the rest of the kitchen is. There was blood spatter on that far wall.
Yeah.
So where she is, where she was obviously killed, but then all the way in, there's spatter on the other wall. So I thought that, how did it get there? Where'd you come from? So weird. And that was next to a stack of boxes of wedding presents. And there was a muddy footprint next to where her feet were, but we know that it was raining and everyone and their dog was walking around there with no foot protective covering or anything. So who knows?
I think it's more surprising that there was only one footprint.
Agreed, because
it's like they cleaned it up and missed it.
I don't know. I don't even know if it was the killer. If it was a muddy footprint, it could have been one of the cops. But then why weren't there more?
Why was there only one?
Exactly. And I need to know, was it raining all day? I don't know that. I should have looked that up.
That's weird.
Now, one of their wedding gifts was a knife block, which was on the counter next to the sink, and there were 2 knives missing from it. So where her head was laying was literally straight up from where she was. There was a butter knife with mayonnaise on it laying across the cup in the sink. Her purse and a lunchbox were on a little counter across the dining room from where her body was. No money was taken from her purse. She still had cash in her purse. Nothing valuable was actually taken from the apartment, and she was still wearing her wedding ring and her earrings. So nothing valuable literally taken. So no
robbery.
So no, it couldn't have been a robbery. They took nothing. Inside of her car, in the driveway, they found her wedding books, like the photo album, guest book. They found cards, that kind of stuff, along with a cellophane bag with a sandwich in it, fruit, and another unopened can of that Minute Maid. Jennifer's cause of death was exsanguination. So she bled to death, according to her autopsy that was done the next day. And she had been stabbed 3 times in the back with the knife from that knife block that had an 8-inch blade. One of these stab wounds dissected her heart. The knife broke. Well, the handle broke off the knife, so the blade was still in her back. Since she was found laying face up, it is believed that she was rolled over, and then the killer used the smaller knife from that knife block to then stab her 6 times in the chest. 5 of these were in a vertical line, and I'm talking straight on top of each other, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like straight down.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, this was not a frenzied stabbing.
Stop looking at the camera.
I can't. I can't.
She keeps looking up at the monitor.
I do. But because I need to see if they can see my hands. See what I'm saying?
Well, I can tell you.
They were straight in a line.
They can.
Straight in a line. She obviously wasn't
I see
fighting back. She wasn't moving. She wasn't nothing.
I'll change that.
Change what?
I'll change the view.
What are you talking about?
I'll change the view. That way it can show you actually doing your hand gestures.
Oh.
Because I'm sitting here with my hands in my pockets. So, I mean.
You are. Anyways, so you had the 5 in a line, and then next to that 4th one, like literally right over, was 1 more. So really weird. She had multiple abrasions to her left hand, nose, the corner of her left eye, upper back, and a 5-inch abrasion to her occipital area of the scalp, all caused by a heavy instrument, fist, or foot. And that little area caused like a bleeding between her brain and her scalp. So that
Well,
was,
I mean, she was obviously beaten and stabbed.
obviously.
Was there anything else?
Like a sexual assault? No.
Yeah, or anything.
No. There was no signs of sexual
'Cause,
assault
I mean, like,
or anything else.
It's like, how did the blood get all the way across?
How did it get across the room?
You know, it's like
I don't know. This
bloody,
is
or the
weird.
one muddy footprint.
One muddy footprint. Yes. But another issue is that while they said that the time of death was estimated to be around 10:30 to 11:30, the medical examiner didn't take the internal temperature. So that being said, it could actually be a couple of hours either direction before or after that actual time. But they work off the theory that she died around 10:30 a.m. They have to look at Justin first, right? Always start with the spouse or significant other. It's now been 32 years since this happened. Lots of people have been interviewed. Stories have changed. And as always, there's conflicting information. So let's talk about Justin and go back just a little bit. Back to before the wedding. Her friends did not like him. And there have been reference to him being aggressive, degrading, and verbally abusive. People say that he didn't stand up for her when his friends talked shit on her. And that he would do things that would get her grounded so that he could hang out with his friends instead of her. Her family said that a couple of weeks before the wedding, she wanted to call the whole thing off. And then 2 days before she died, she told her dad that she hated married life, hated Justin, and that he wasn't the person that she thought he was. And poor dad told her to give it time and it would get better. Many people said that at their wedding, he didn't even seem like he wanted to be there. And I've looked at some of those wedding pictures, and it's like the family photo of everybody standing and smiling, and he has no expression on his face.
Did he ever cheat on her?
Yeah. Well, okay, I can't say yeah like I was there. There was talk that he cheated a lot. A lot. Now, here's his version of events that day. He woke up at 5:30 and left for work at 6. Now, he worked a rotating shift, so that day he was working 6:30 to 2:30. He told one of her friends that Jennifer had woke up having a nightmare in the middle of the night. Someone was trying to kill her. So Justin held her until she calmed down. Now, when he got up and left for work, she did walk him to the door that morning so that she could lock it behind him. Remember, because she was scared about the guy rattling the doorknob. He said he turned around and looked at her and saw a halo over her head. Once he was at work, he realizes that he forgot his lunch. So he called her at 9:30 asking her to bring him his lunch. Now, it apparently bothered her that he took a sack lunch every day. So her dad gave her one of his insulated coolers for him to use. And Justin had asked her to bring him a sandwich and some fruit. He said his friend Chuck Chance showed up at Alco randomly, just out of the blue. And several things stuck out about this. Justin worked a rotating shift, so how did Chuck know that he was at work? And they had played basketball the Saturday before, and he said they weren't getting along very well, so they hadn't even talked since then. Also, Chuck showed up wearing penny loafers, gym shorts, and a button-up shirt. That's a choice. He allegedly told Justin that he went by the duplex, saw Justin's truck was gone, stopped at his sister's house and changed clothes, and then came to Alco.
That's very weird.
Tell me about it. But he asked Justin if he wanted to go to the gym after he got off work. And when Justin said yes, Chuck just hung out until Justin got off work. Just at his work. First day back from his wedding vacation. I guess that'd be a honeymoon, right? A wedding vacation. There's a word. And there's also a big discrepancy as to when Chuck actually got to Alco. We'll touch on that in just a minute. Justin had gone through emotions that day. He was frustrated that Jennifer was taking so long to bring him his lunch, all the way to him being worried when she didn't show up at all. So
but not worried enough to call her or go home for lunch or anything.
Not worried enough to check on her.
Well, let's run back to Chuck.
Chuck Bobuck. Yeah.
When he stopped at his sister's house, his thoughts in his head was, let's change my clothes and let me put on some gym shorts, a button-down shirt, and penny loafers.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't ever just go to your sister's house?
That seems like the really good choice to go hang out at a workplace.
Well, he was planning on going to work out, so also a good choice for working out, I guess. We'll get to Chuck's story here in just a second, don't worry. Now, Alco was only 9 or 10 minutes from the duplex, so it would have been easy for him to just run home and get his lunch himself, or run home and check on Jennifer to find out why she hadn't brought him the lunch, but he didn't. He did tell the cops that he had bought that orange Minute Maid, so that was already in the house, not something that was brought in by somebody else. He said Chuck touched the knives on the counter before first responders got there. And he feels like Chuck had feelings for Jennifer. And he knew how to get into the house because the Friday before, Chuck was going to help him fill their water bed, but Justin forgot his key. So they went through the bedroom window. Plus, she knew Chuck. So if he came to the door, she would have likely just opened it for him. Police talked to the other people that worked at Alco that day. Justin's logbook entries don't match up with the times the truck drivers had in their logbooks. The guy working the guard shack before Justin's shift says that Justin wasn't there at 6:30 when he was supposed to be. So he called the duplex at 6:32 and was talking to Jennifer when he saw Justin's truck pull into the parking lot. Justin was frustrated because he said Jennifer had turned the alarm off and that's why he was late. Phone records show that this 6:32 a.m. phone call was the only call made from Alco to the duplex that day.
So he didn't really call her to have her bring the lunch?
No, sir, not at 9:30. Because I called her at 9:30.
So did he call Chuck?
Nope. Then that brings the question of, if he didn't call her, why was his lunch in her car?
Yeah.
Right? And if she was adamant that she wanted him to use the lunchbox instead of the bag lunch, why didn't she use the cooler or even a paper bag? There was no mention of a paper bag, just literally the sandwich in like a Ziploc and fruit and that Minute Maid.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, you could say that that was her lunch, but then why would she take her lunch like that too? You know what I mean? Because remember, she was supposed to go to work.
I hear you.
I don't know. But that's specifically what he asked for lunch. Okay.
That's something to think about.
There's a lot. So when they asked, when they told Justin that the only call made that day was at 6:32, he said, "Oh yeah, that's when I called her, not 9:30.
Yeah.
I called her at 6:32." So why would the other make up the story? Why would he say, I called at 6:32. I talked to Jennifer. I watched Justin pull into the parking lot. What does he have to gain? And in a news interview in 2009, Justin went back to saying he called her between 8:30 and 9. So, ever-changing story.
Yep, I got you. We're going to take us a little quick break. And now let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. We had a different ad idea the other day.
But that all changed when we heard from someone who lives in an apartment and their washer went out. They went to the laundromat to do 2 loads of laundry, and it cost over $21 for 2 loads. That didn't include detergent and fabric softener. Plus, they had to lug a laundry basket up flights of stairs.
Stop going through the hassle. Stop wasting money and go to My Laundry Solutions, the #1 choice for washers and dryer rental.
If you live in the areas of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Springfield and Joplin, Missouri, Little Rock, Arkansas, or Sherman, Dallas, Houston, and Lubbock, Texas, go to your leasing office, go to mylaundrysolutions.com, or call 800-535-4411 today. No credit check, free service, professional installation. And your account is available online. Leave the laundromat to Weird Larry in 3C.
Don't miss out on great prices and great service. My Laundry Solutions.
Yes.
And I heard the other day, I actually learned something from him the other day. They don't call them apartment complexes anymore.
What are they now?
That's not the correct term. It's apartment community. Because complex made it sound more like a prison.
Accurate.
Yeah. I was like, well, that kind of makes sense.
Wow. Well, you are really close to your neighbor.
And I was like, what do they call duplexes?
A duplex.
I know.
Because there's 2 in the plex.
The Duke community.
I live in a Duke community.
Duke community. Duke community.
No.
Duke community.
Stop making it sound like poop.
Dookie.
Anyways, so
Dookie-imity.
Stop it. People, you have no idea what I'm stuck with. He also said that Chuck got to Alco at 11:30, but when re-interviewed in 1998, he said it was 9:30. So the cops asked him, well, how do you think that Chuck had the opportunity to kill her at 10:30 if he was at Alco at 9:30 and he didn't leave until you got off work? So Justin then said, oh, okay, no, it was 11. He got there at 11. So nobody ever knows. But now he's stuck at 11. Also at Alco that day, a truck driver got there at 10:50 and put his truck on the scale. Talking to Justin told him his wife was bringing him his lunch, and the driver joked to have her bring him one too. He unloaded his fertilizer and came back through about 40 to 50 minutes later, and Justin was gone. The guy in the guard shack said Justin had to leave. Justin told the cops that that guy was wrong and that he didn't leave that shack all day. He was there the whole time.
Well, there's another person saying something that they didn't.
Right, saying that Justin said something that he did. What?
Well, I mean, that's another person saying something that didn't happen the way Justin said.
The way he said,
right?
yeah. I couldn't get my words out either.
Yeah, I couldn't. I got fumbled with it, but.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. That's two people now that have nothing to gain that have contradicted his story, but he's like, no, they're wrong. I'm right. They're
wrong. Of course. Why not?
Now, another thing that rubbed Jennifer's family the wrong way was they set up a fundraiser basketball game between Justice for Jennifer and the Harlem Magicians, and Justin played for the Magicians. Why would you play for the opposite team? That was weird to them. But he said that all this publicity that they were doing, all these posters they were putting up, all this pressure was forcing the actual killer into hiding. Like it made it less likely that he would come forward. And so this was his way of fighting against the man. I don't know. But let's move on to Chuck's account of the day. This is also due to many interviews that he gave over the years. He said that he got to Alco at 10:40, but he also said in another interview he got there at noon. So his time changes too. He originally said it was 10:40 and that Justin said Jennifer was supposed to bring his lunch at 10:10. Now that's an oddly specific time to me. Chuck told his wife that he was going to turn in job applications and then go to the gym with Justin, even though he hadn't asked him yet.
Well, so Justin thinks that Chuck had a thing for Jennifer and he's married too?
Yeah, Chuck's married and has a kid.
Okay. Was Justin,
I don't know.
Cheating with Chuck's
the wife? I don't know.
Oh.
Good question. Now, Chuck left and he went to Commerce to get his gym bag. And then he got to the gym in Miami at 7:10. He worked out for about 30 minutes and then he stopped at the duplex at 8:15. He says that there was a woman with a briefcase on the empty side of the duplex. He pulled into Jennifer's driveway and the woman asked if the Judds lived there. He said yes, and then he left, realizing that if Justin's truck wasn't there, he had to be at work, right? He drove to Pittsburgh, Kansas to put in 2 applications for a job, and then went back to Commerce to deposit a check into his checking account. He went to the post office in Pitcher and then went to Galena, Kansas to apply for another job, but they had a sign posted that they weren't taking applications. So that's when he went to Alco to see if Justin wanted to work out. Now, maybe he was on 2-a-days because he had already worked out that morning. Maybe he did cardio that morning and wanted to do weights. Who knows? But the other thing that sticks out is that he did not mention going to his sister's house to change clothes. Does that mean that he was going around putting in job applications in gym shorts and that button-up shirt?
Well, I mean, and don't forget the penny loafers. But
maybe that's what made it
What I don't get is like he went to Commerce. Deposited his check.
Right. And if you don't know, Commerce is up here and then Miami is under that.
And then he went to Pitcher.
And then he went to Pitcher, which is under that. Or next to that.
To go to the post office.
Yes.
And you're telling me there's no post office between Commerce and Pitcher.
Well, I know Miami has a post office.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe
I mean,
I would say
most towns have a post office.
Even the smallest ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. But he was seen by witnesses at the post office at 11:30.
And then he goes all the way to Galena.
Which is back up. Yeah.
Which is close to Baxter Springs.
Mm-hmm.
And then back.
Yeah, so he's literally driving like this.
Yeah.
Boy, according to him.
Somebody ain't got a job, boy. He's wasting it.
Yeah, no wonder he had to deposit that check in the bank account. He had to cover that gas. So he was seen at the post office Pitcher at 11:30. They said there was no blood on him, nothing. The only thing out of sorts was his outfit. So if he drove that 20 minutes to Galena, then another 11 minutes to Alco, that would put him there around noon or so. In his second story, he went from the post office straight to Alco. So he cut out Galena altogether. So the timeline is now changing again.
Yeah.
Now they drove this path. They drove his path of his right? And there was a 23-minute window of unaccounted for time. There were a couple of other people that they looked at too. They didn't stop at Justin and Chuck. Justin's best friend, Tommy, who was the best man at his wedding. He was at work that day, but police found out that he left work to go to the doctor to look at some type of hand injury that they never figured out what it was. But Justin said he was very cooperative with the police, literally walked off the job to go have testing done to see if he matched any of that DNA at the house. And even though there was a woman interviewed that said he, Chuck, and Justin were involved in the Quapaw Mafia, we'll touch on that a little later. Yeah. I've never heard of it, but we weren't in the area for that long. So,
well, okay. So Quapaw Mafia. So that goes back to the Lower Bible and Ashley Freeman, where the mom actually went and met with the mafia.
Yes.
And that's the Quapaw Mafia.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So,
I wasn't going to bring that up, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There are actually a couple of things that cross over between these two cases and the Welch girls and this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to see some peoples. Another person they looked at was Alan Redden. Now, he had to be told twice to stop harassing Jennifer at the store that she worked at.
And wait a minute. And which I think in the interview, the mom actually said it was the cartel that she talked to.
She had talked to the cartel. Yeah.
But it was the mafia because it was a local.
It was, yeah. They're all entwined with each other.
But yeah, it was the local.
Yeah, the local branch.
Yeah.
I guess you call
whoever it was, yeah.
This is my representative. But so Alan Redden was a registered sex offender who was in and out of jail. And he said he was at work that day, but his work said, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He wasn't here. So.
Yeah, but they have to look at everybody.
They got to look at everybody. Yeah.
But I mean,
looking.
Man, this one here is kind of all over the place.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they have to look at even people who falsely confess, which brings us to Jeremy Jones, which is another name from the Laura Bible and Ashley Freeman case.
Yeah.
He's a serial killer and serial confessor. He was 18 years old when Jennifer died, and he says that she was his first murder. And that's why this one was different than the other ones, because her murder does not match his MO for all of his other murders. So it was like, okay. He's like, oh, that's because she was my first. I hadn't honed it in yet. He worked with Chuck at Bayliner, and he was actually able to give them an accurate layout of the duplex, even though the layout had changed between the time of the murder and his confession. So he had either been in that duplex at some point before, because it was a rental duplex. So he could have been there with whoever rented it before. But that kind of, I don't know, him giving that layout made them kind of look at him like, okay, maybe this could be it. But he also said that he and Jennifer had an affair. And he said that he came into the duplex through the back door, even though they had just changed the lock on the back door. So he started saying things that did not add up. So once you get past that layout, there's really nothing that holds weight. And like I said, he's confessed to a bunch of different things, including the Laura Bible and Ashley Freeman, even though they knew he wasn't there. So let's talk about the Quapaw Mafia. As I mentioned, Tommy, Chuck, and Justin were allegedly part of this group in some way. Tommy's ex and Jennifer's friend says that Jennifer told her that she had found plastic bags with white powder in them behind the toilet tank at the duplex. This was about a week before she died. She confronted Justin, who said he would tell Chuck not to do it anymore. Allegedly, Justin came down hard on Chuck, and that was the real reason that Justin and Chuck weren't getting along before the murder, not because of some basketball game where they got into it. She said that Chuck used to do steroids with Jeremy Jones back in the day, so he was part of their group. But no one else in the area admitted to there being a Quapaw Mafia. So obviously none of this can be verified.
Well, that's not surprising.
No.
I mean, why would you?
Nobody's going to come out and say anything. So you can't really verify anything.
I'm a gangster.
One. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was me.
I
do drugs.
Yeah. I'm the mafia. It's me.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got me.
Exactly. So that's not something they can verify.
Yeah.
Chuck came out and said that Justin actually borrowed his car that day. Now, this was a white Geostorm with pinstriping.
Oh, shit.
I know. I knew you'd be like, I've seen that car.
Most of them Geostorms came out pinstriping anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. But it kind of stands out.
Was it the pink pinstriping?
It was. It was.
Nice.
So I wonder if they ever asked that truck driver if it was Chuck that was in the guard shack who told him Justin had to leave. Because if he borrowed Chuck's car, he would have left Chuck there.
Yeah.
And that would mean that would have been, just saying, maybe that's why the time logs were messed up. Maybe that because Chuck don't work there. Come on now. I didn't see that mentioned anywhere that they checked that though. Chuck also said that Justin put on a glove before he entered the duplex to find Jennifer. Why? He also stepped over Jennifer's body to walk to the far side of the kitchen where that blood spatter was. He looked around, straightened the boxes of wedding gifts, picked something up off the floor, and then went into the bedroom. Now Chuck went in there to comfort him, and Justin was sitting on the bed. The first responders got there and Chuck went to let them in. And when they came inside, Justin was sitting in a chair in the living room. They found that glove shoved down beside the cushion of that chair, and it had sheetrock dust on it. Why?
Did he punch the wall?
He did punch the wall. But
Sheetrock dust. Why
did he have a glove on? Why did he put a glove on before he walked in the door? Was he planning on doing a Michael Jackson impersonation when he got in there? He had one glove.
I don't know.
It's just weird. That's weird to me.
I don't know. There is no I can't follow this. It's all over the place.
It is. This is the problem. Yeah. They also collected hairs in the bedroom on the bedspread that haven't matched to anyone. The Minute Maid can on the bedroom floor didn't have usable prints on it. There were prints on the knife blade that was in her back, but they haven't been able to match them to anyone to date. The knife handle and the smaller knife have never been found.
I wonder if he knocked a hole in the wall and then put the knife handle in the wall.
Bro, did you just solve this case? No, it's kidding. They did change the layout of the duplex, so I don't think that wall's there any longer. They would have found it. Or if the people who did it...
Unless it was a load-bearing wall.
Right. Or the people who did it didn't realize that there was a murder weapon in there.
True.
But if you had a glove on, I mean...
Yeah, but I'm just saying. That could have been a quick and easy way to get rid of it.
That's true.
Because if it was an inside wall, it don't have insulation in it.
No, it doesn't. It does not. But I do know that they tested the DNA of Chuck's, and he was not a contributor. So although all this stuff looks suspicious with Justin and Chuck, they don't match. Well, Chuck doesn't match any of the DNA in the house. So
yeah, and Justin lived there, so you'd expect his hair and his fingerprints to be everywhere.
Everywhere, all over everything. Yeah.
But was they?
His DNA, yeah, it was everywhere.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Just, I figured maybe he fucking cleaned up or something.
Wiped it down. Well,
yeah.
His mom probably did. The neighbors around the duplex.
Mom probably did.
We know she does his cleaning.
The
neighbors around the duplex also had some fuckery to add to the mix. The neighbor 2 doors down said it was around 10:45 to 10:50 during the last showcase of The Price is Right, so he knows his times, when that white Geostorm pulled onto the street. It went past his place, and the road is a dead end, so he assumed it had to go to Jennifer's, right, since she's the only one down there. About 10 to 15 minutes later, it came back by leaving. He walked outside while describing it to the cops and said, "Oh, there it is," and pointed at Chuck's Geostorm sitting in Justin's driveway. 4 people say that they saw that car that day in the area, anywhere between 8 and noon. Another neighbor said it was about 11:30 to 11:45 when she saw it. The cops questioned the time, and she was adamant that she had to be home by noon that day, and she was unloading groceries when she saw it, so she had just got home. The police did not officially take her statement for the file.
Of course not.
It didn't match the timeline. And a truck driver says that around 11:30, that Geo sped past him in the area, and then he saw the same Geo at Alco when he got there at noon. So somebody was in a hurry to get back to Alco.
How really you gonna take the actual car and fly by the
zoom past the guy that's coming right behind you
from the guy that's actually coming to the same damn place you're going?
To the same place, yeah, to the same place.
And you know exactly that guy right there. He passed that dude and looks at the truck and was like, "Oh shit, damn it, that's Earl."
That's Earl. That's Earl. He's gonna be there at noon making his drop off.
Damn,
man. And then
you don't forget stuff like that. I mean,
right. And then you got Pam, Justin's mom, and Bobby, Justin's stepdad. Both were in the area that morning too. Bobby drove past their street, so he admitted to being there, but not stopping at the duplex. Pam says that she went to a house up the street from the duplex to pick up a woman to go clean hotel rooms. It took the police 8 years to track this woman down, but they did. She said that not only did she not know Pam at the time, but she was in high school. She was definitely not cleaning hotel rooms during the day. She even remembered walking home from school that day to see all the cop cars outside. So why Pam said she was there to pick up a teenager to go clean hotel rooms, that's not accurate.
Yeah, and I mean, how would somebody forget something like that?
If you're a teenager walking home and there's cop cars everywhere, you don't forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember one time I was walking home from school and there's a bunch of cop cars. You know what I mean? It sticks. That's the story you tell people for the rest of your life.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know you remember that kind of stuff. The only reason why I remember it is because, you know.
I was talking about her, not me.
I was just saying, you know, when I remember coming home, you know, it's because Dad was parked his police car in the driveway.
Flashing lights. Maybe he was going to get his lunch. Woo, woo. And we say it all the time, the ever-changing stories and
Yours
different
was a family reunion.
Stop it. The ever-changing stories and different timelines make it hard to investigate cases like this. It's not about me. Was Pam in the area because she came to let herself into the apartment and clean, but Jennifer was there? There was an argument and things got out of hand? Did Chuck lie about all the driving he did that day? And he really was the one who hurt Jennifer and then went to Alco to wait for Justin to find her? Some theorized that he did go in and found her dead and then went to Alco and waited for Justin so that Justin would be the one to find her. Some theorized that Chuck and Justin are covering up for someone else who did it. Did Justin borrow Chuck's car to go get himself lunch and he and Jennifer got into an argument that went too far? Did the Quapaw Mafia have her taken out because they didn't want her to tell what she found behind the toilet tank? And my question is, did they look into any of the women that Justin allegedly cheated on her with? Because this made me think of the Sherry Rasmussen case.
Yeah.
And I just think it's always an option that it could have been a stranger. So,
and she was the one that she was the cop.
This was the cop that came in and killed her.
Rasmussen.
And they didn't even get her for years and years and years. But I'm just saying, like, have they looked into this? I need to know. And who was that woman with the briefcase? He just left, if Chuck's story is correct. He just left while that woman was going up to knock on Jennifer's door. So why'd you leave? But anyways, police did ask Chuck if that woman could have been Pam, Judd, but he said only if she was wearing a wig.
That was kind of specific.
They're like, but could it have been Pam? And he's like, only if she was wearing a wig. But could it have been? But only if she was wearing a wig.
Yeah.
He just kept saying it over and over. And it's like, are you telling me she was wearing a wig?
That is kind of specific. Did you just wink at me? I mean, that is kind of, yeah, it's like, stop winking.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got something in your eye?
Yeah.
He's like,
okie dokie.
Check it out.
Yep.
But this is one where if somebody knows something, they need to just go ahead and tell it because like Darren said, it's a very, very confusing case. There's stuff that's all over the place. There's so many contradictions. It's really hard to tell it and keep it straight.
Is it still an open case?
100%.
That's good. At least it's still open. Yes.
So if you have any information, there is a $5,000 reward, and you can contact the Kansas Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-KS-CRIME or 1-800-572-7463. Call them.
Yeah, and don't forget that you guys can contribute at dna.truecrime@gmail.com.
Yep, on Cash App.
Don't have to if you don't want to, but please do.
Yes.
Till next time. See ya.
Bye.